All right, this is jpeg2RAW, show number 65, recorded on December 11th, 2012. And tonight our guest is Sarah Wilkerson. Did I say that right?
That's right.
I am horrible with names, but I'm glad I got that one right. The CEO of Clickin Moms and a photographer herself. We'll be going over some of her photos and talking about Clickin Moms in just a minute. But before we do, in case we got some new people out there, I wanted to tell you a little about jpeg2RAW. We are a weekly podcast. We are completely free. Tim, Kathleen, and I are all just fans of photography, love talking about photography, love meeting people like Sarah and talking with them about photography. So we do this for free. jpeg2RAW is available live like tonight or recorded on YouTube, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and many other podcast catchers like I get, Beyond Pod on my Android. And Tim, what do you use for your iPhone?
Downcast.
Downcast for your iPhone. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. Our group now, Tim, is right around 650 and growing, and very active and very willing to help each other out, and help us find great guests like Sarah. That's one of the ways we found Sarah, is from one of our fans. We also have an affiliate on our website, using Amazon, and one of the things we do, because we are completely nonprofit, is any of the money we get, we buy things to give away to all our fans. So we're giving away the Expo disc. There's 2 days left to enter that. You got to enter by this Friday, and the reason we're cutting off this Friday, Tim, is because I want to get it shipped to the person so they get it by Christmas. So if you have not signed up for the Expo disc giveaway, there is it's on our website. I don't know, Tim, if you can pop that in the chat if you have a second. There's a sign up on our website to get that. We also are running a photo contest. Every month we do a photo contest in our Facebook group, and the purpose of that mainly is to get you out taking photos, and we generally have a subject. This month's subject was sports, which was a little bit more challenging given the time of the year. But we got some great photos, and we'll look at those in just a second. Our winners of the photo contest for October, November, and the December contest are all getting a signed copy of Michael Clark. He was a guest a few weeks back, an adventure photographer who takes some amazing photos. Michael Clark's exposed book. He'll be signing them. We'll mail them to him. He'll sign them, and then we'll mail them all out. This will not make it in time for Christmas because we're going to let the December winner also get a signed copy, and we want to do this all at once. So Tim, you got to vote on the photos. Let me see if I can pull those photos up here, and then there was one of Sarah's photos. There we go. So this month's contest was sports, and what we do is the top 3 photos that are voted on by the people by liking them go into the final voting, and then the admins of the group will pick which one they like. So this was one of them. Is titled, or we self-titled it, "Baseball" by Kyle Yates, and the next one was called "Shooter." We'll have to get actual names from these people. "Shooter" from Paula Fankhauser. Oh, I'm sure I screwed that up.
Yeah, I was going to say that's.
Let's just say Paula. So that was the other one, and then the third one was "Skateboarder" by Mike Coletta. So, Tim, who won?
Paula with the shooter.
Paula won with the shooter. Yes, I love that shot.
So did I. I loved it for 2 reasons: the focus of her concentration and the focus of her.
Yeah, no,
it was just really, it was a great shot.
That was a great shot. So Sarah wins the November contest. Sarah will be getting, her photo will be the main photo on the Facebook group for the next month. She wins a signed copy of Michael Clark's book, and Stacy Jensen will give her a $25 credit toward her purchase on her website. So all very good. The December contest, who will also win this, they get a the subject for December is anything. Your best shot for 2012 It doesn't, no subject, whatever subject you want, just your best shot for 2012. And we got to think of something a little bit special for them, Tim. I don't know. Right now it's normal stuff, but we may think of something else. If you're here for the pre-show, I did show our our website coming in 2013. You're right now on a site called Nav Studios. That's a temporary thing. Yeah, and I don't want to go into why we call it Nav Studios. It has nothing to do with November. But the actual jpeg2RAW site will be coming on. If you're in the pre-show, you got to see what that's going to look like. If not, you'll have to wait till later on. And I think that's... Oh, so one more thing. If you have any guest suggestions, have anybody you'd like to see come on the show, send us an email, or comments or questions about the show. Send us an email at podcast@jpeg2RAW.com. And you can get in touch with me, Kathleen, or Tim that way. All right. Tim, anything else? Anything I missed?
I don't think you missed anything.
And my voice is starting to go a little bit.
I'm just typing away.
I'm still recovering from my cold. It seems to be going around with everybody. So, you know what? Somebody out in chat says they see the website. Yeah, I don't have it redirected right now, so you can actually go to it. I'll take care of that after the show there, Sess. All right, so let's get into Sarah. Sarah, what? First off, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and how you got into photography?
Well, I am I'm a military wife, and when my first son, who is now 7, was 10 days old, my husband deployed to Iraq. And it wasn't before a few months had gone by that I realized I really needed to start, there started to be milestones that he was missing. And I had a neighbor who was into photography, and she sort of introduced it to me, and I started taking pictures for my husband to be able to document, the baby's growth while he was away. And it just sort of took off from there. I've always had a love of art and technology, and it was a really nice marriage of the two.
Now, I noticed you like to take, you like a lot of black and whites. Is that your favorite?
I do. I really like the drama, and I like old movies and, sort of film noir, and there's something about that collision between shadow and light that I find really fascinating that works really well with black and white.
Yeah, I like black and white a lot too. So I was looking at your photos last night, and I don't know if there are a lot of them are your children or whatever, but I just love the mood, like you said, the mood and the drama that the black and white brings to it. Sometimes the color is the distraction from the photo.
Yeah, and that's something. Color is actually something I'm gravitating towards. Again, I think at the beginning, that's what you work with, and as you start to explore your artistic style, that's when I started moving towards the black and white. And now I'm trying to work my way back towards color again, because I think that using color effectively is something that is sort of a skill that I don't see a lot of photographers using really, really well. So it's something that I want to refocus on myself while maintaining that drama and bringing the color back into it. Personal challenge.
How do you edit your black and whites to get, because they look really good. They don't look like you just converted to grayscale. They look good quality edits.
I do all of my edits in Lightroom. Originally I did them all by hand. I found that I sort of started to do the same thing on a pretty regular basis. So I made myself some presets, and we actually made those a commercial product over at Clickin. So I use our product because that's what I made for my own workflow.
Okay. You had one shot, and I'm showing some of your shots in the background as we talk, but it's already passed by. There's one of a building that looks like a tilt-shift lens that you used.
Absolutely.
But when I thought when I looked at the specs of that lens, and I know I told you in the pre-show I was not going to quiz you on lenses, so if you don't remember, that's fine. It's my fault if you don't remember, because I told you I wouldn't do this. But I was looking at that photo, and I think I looked at the specs of the lens, and I didn't think it was a tilt shift.
It probably was. I use a 45mm and 85mm tilt shift very regularly.
Okay.
So there's a good chance. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it'll come around here in just a second.
Okay.
I mean to the chat too.
Yeah, I'm watching.
There's people out in chat. And the one that's coming up that you'll see in just a second, I think, is you in the bed with only your eyes showing and the lighting. Excellent. I love the lighting in that shot.
Thank you.
Now, did you just set it on a timer or something?
No, I used the interval timer in the camera, and that was a pretty personal shot that was on the last day of 2011, which was my husband's second deployment, sort of looking towards 2012, when the year that he would come home. So, yeah.
And now that the building shot just came
Yeah,
out.
45 millimeter tilt shift lens.
Love that. If see if I can go back to it. If you haven't done tilt shift before, somebody out there in chat, if you haven't done tilt shift before, it really gives a unique look. It almost makes things look miniaturized.
Yeah.
And I love that. Oops. I guess I didn't hold it. It went on to the next photo. Is this next one with the pool table also a tilt shift?
It absolutely is, yeah.
I have got to get a tilt shift. And what's funny is just recently in our Facebook group, people were asking, does anybody have a tilt shift? Which you said you had 2 tilt shifts?
I do. Nikon makes 3. They make a 24, a 45, and an 85. And I have owned all 3, but the 24 is their oldest version, and I just found it very clumsy to work with. So as soon as they come out with a new one, I will pick that one up as well. But for now, I'm sticking with the 45 and 85. I sent the 24 back. That's a job.
Oh, look who we have.
Hey.
Kathleen Bowie. Hey, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen.
Sarah, it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I've been excited for this for months.
Oh, thank you.
This is
Me
so
too.
cool. Good. I'm sorry I'm late.
Well, I explained that you had a boy who broke his leg, and things have been crazy for you.
Yeah, my 4-year-old broke his leg on the trampoline, and he got his real cast yesterday, and we were praying that it was going to be a walking cast, but it's not. So he's not allowed to walk at all, which means I have to carry him everywhere, and he's taking full advantage of that.
And he will for a while.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what us guys do? Take full advantage of anything
Yeah.
like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Down, Mike. Down, boy.
But, we learn young, even when we're little boys.
Yeah.
Well, we just catch you up, Kathleen. What we're doing, we were just going over some of Sarah's photos.
Awesome.
We hadn't actually got into Clickin Moms yet. We were just talking about Sarah. We already did do the contest for November and did that. So you can jump in whenever you want. But so Sarah, do you shoot for money, or do you shoot? What are you doing with your photography side? I know you got a lot going on with Clickin Moms, but I want to stick with your photography side just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I took sort of what I think is a pretty normal path for most people, which is, you start to shoot and friends start to see your pictures and they ask you for pictures and they tell you should go into business, and I did that. And I think that's a pretty normal path. But for me, I found that it wasn't a good fit. I was putting too much energy into taking care of clients and booking, and I found it very, very stressful, and I sort of felt like a lot of the joy of photography got taken away. I didn't like having to sort of shoot on demand. I didn't feel like I was free to take risks because I felt like I had to deliver something very reliable for people. Mm-hmm. So I stepped back from that. Now I only shoot for myself. I allow myself to fail a lot. I go out and I wouldn't take, certainly not at the beginning of buying a tilt shift lens. I would never do that with a client. It's a very tricky lens to work with. But myself, I can go and practice for a month with nothing but that 45 until I nail it. And it's just it's a much more satisfying artistic experience for me being able to shoot for myself.
Absolutely. And I never shot. I shot for money for a little bit, but mainly sports. And I think I feel the same way. I'd rather just shoot for myself.
Yeah, it's freeing.
It is. Kath, did I interrupt you?
No.
Okay.
I was just moving my screen around. I can imagine that a lot of photographers would love to be able to do what you've done and just say, whatever, I'm just going to shoot for me. Let's just have fun with that. That's such an awesome road. But it seems like you didn't just do that. You created yourself another avenue, another way to make money and to keep photography as your business without having to deal with photography clients.
That's true, because it is a very expensive hobby, and if you really want to keep it up, it is nice to have some income for sure.
Yeah. So what made you think about Clickin Moms? When did it first click with you? I want to do something like this.
I joined Clickin Moms as a member about 8 months after it started.
Okay.
9 months after it started. It started in March of 2008, and I joined in December.
Uh-huh.
So our founder is named Kendra Okalita, and she and I now work very, very closely on, helping to progress this company, and we have a fantastic team of women, so there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to make it what it is. But when I joined as a member, it was just a very small team that was working on it, and I just joined it because I wanted to find other women that I could talk about photography with all day long, because I think people who aren't into it, I think, tire of it pretty quickly, and you get sucked in, and it's all you want to talk about when you first discover it.
Yeah.
So it was nice to find that, sort of community where people, they understood just wanting to talk about, analyzing an image for an hour or talking about your favorite lenses, which is very, very boring to people who don't understand. But I think since that time, that community has grown exponentially. Now we have all sorts of programs and products and whatnot. But I just joined as a regular member. Definitely not my idea. I think I've helped to push it along a little bit and, expand it. But if it hadn't been there, who knows what I would be doing right now.
I think both Kathleen and I are married to people who don't have the same passion for photography that we have, right, Kathleen?
No, my husband has no clue. But it's funny because I still catch myself saying, "Oh, I was editing these photographs today, and I really pushed my ISO up to 300, 3,000, and blah 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 blah," and using all this jargon, and my husband's just like, "Okay," and then hours later he'll throw it back at me, like he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. Bless his heart.
Well, one of the things I've said this in the past, and when you hear about Clickin moms or moms with cameras or something like that, it's not necessarily meant just females. I think it's generally that you hear that as a derogatory term toward new photographers. And the one thing if you look back, like maybe when I or Tim were younger, and even when our kids were younger, it's not that long ago, you look back at those photos and you think they all look the same. Every senior photographer photo or whatever was up against a tree doing that same pose. All the family shots were exactly the same. So, and those were the old guard photographers. If you look at what we're seeing today from these, for lack of better terms, the moms with cameras, you are getting a lot more creativity and a lot of good product out there. So I think while some people say that as a derogatory term, and mainly those are the older people, the reality is that those people, those moms with cameras and dads with cameras, let's throw those guys in there too, are really moving the industry along. And the quality I see Kathleen do, the quality I saw on Clickin moms, the quality I see on your
Mike.
Okay, on your website, Sarah, those are things you wouldn't have saw 10, 15 years ago, and it's not because the cameras couldn't do it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I open that with, going with Clickin moms. I first when I hear about it, I think it's only for females, and it probably is mainly females, but I'm sure you got some males in there.
There's a few Clickin dads, Clickin dudes.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got people at all levels there, but the beauty of the site is because you have so many people, and we're going to go over some of the different things. They are a lot. You get a lot of help, so you can grow because we're all at different phases in our photography career.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree, and I do think that we see people really raising the bar, both in skill level and in just sort of general creativity. And you see the trends, and then you see people who are very motivated to buck those trends and discover new things. So I think, there's people who want to really distinguish themselves. And I think for a while, and I didn't follow photography 15 years ago, but I think for a while it did kind of all look the same. And that's what people wanted. I mean, commercially, that's what people were looking for. They wanted to know they were getting a very reliable product when they went to a studio. And now I think people want something that's a little bit more unique.
Right.
And I think that benefits the whole industry.
It's
So
funny
go ahead.
as a photographer, you feel the pressure at times to kind of fit into some sort of norm because you think that's what your clients want. And then for myself, I know that as I've grown as a photographer and the longer that I've done it, in my early years, I so wanted to fit inside that box and just please my clients. And when I stopped wanting to please my clients and just wanting to do what artistically pleased me, that's when I saw my photography go to a different level, and I started getting more bookings and I started making more money. And it's funny now because I'll have people call me. I had 2 people this week call me and say, listen, we want to come to you and we just want to get a family picture, everyone looking plain in the camera and just smiling. We want to be able to do the artistic Kathleen Boyd photography stuff at some point. We want that, but right now we just need a Christmas picture. And it's funny how they even see that there's a difference between the everyone look at the camera and smile and what you can do artistically as a photographer.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that not just the photography communities understanding the difference, but some of the clientele can understand the difference too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's a place for that. The kid, big cheesy smile, smiling at the camera. I can't tell you how many photographers I know who purchase the school photos.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, it's just something that you just want and you have to have. And I think it can get a little bit tiresome if that's all that you see, but I think there's a place for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So for Tim and I, who don't really know anything about, don't know that much about Clickin' Moms, I've obviously been going around the website. Tell us a little bit about, what, for somebody who's not a member, what Clickin' Moms is about and why they would want to be a member.
The heart of Clickin' Moms is the community. I mean, we have an educational program and a blog and a pro side. We have a magazine now, but the heart of Clickin' Moms is what it started out to be, which is a forum. And I think, there's 2 keys there. One is it's just a place where, like I mentioned before, women can come together and discuss something that they love and they love talking about, just as much as just the general discussion and finding people with a shared interest is the fact that there's so much encouragement there and there is so much knowledge and talent there, and it really fosters a lot of growth. I know that for me, when I joined, I was not an advanced photographer, but I wasn't an ultra beginner either, and I learn really well by teaching. It helps reinforce the things that I'm trying to internalize myself, and I think that that's really representative of what we see a lot of on the board, which is people helping each other because that's part of their own journey. They're by teaching, they are reinforcing principles, they're practicing, they may be writing tutorials, they're going out and practicing skills in order to help other people along. It really just sort of advances everybody in a really positive manner. I think a lot of forums, photography industry and beyond, get a bad reputation for being a little bit nasty because people can hide behind usernames and avatars and whatever. And that's not our community at all. Most people use their real names, have their real pictures up in their avatars. It really is a global community, and it's not, it feels very authentic and sincere, which is what drew me in and which is what I wanted to, become a part of.
Yeah, I think that really helps out, because if you've been a member of any forums for any amount of time, you can see them start off nice and then over time drift to being more nasty.
Yeah.
And photography is one of those things that is not necessarily science. There is a science to it, but majority of it is not science. The majority of it is emotion and subjective. So you can have disagreements, but I think the way you guys have done your forums, and one of them that probably helps is that your forums are paid forums, right?
They are.
That probably helps because now you got people who want to be there and are not just trolling it. Mm-hmm. And that, the price is very reasonable. You can go to the website and see the price. The price is very reasonable. And that probably that right there alone helps you keep a good, clean forum that helps the community grow.
It does. And we have a really great, I mentioned before, we've got a great team. So they're there to moderate, and they do not let discussions go negative or get out of control. But to be honest, they don't have to moderate very often because there's 13,000 women who are there because they want a positive environment. So there's a lot of self-policing that goes on. So it's really a nicely controlled environment that's very conducive to learning and sharing, and it feels very secure to people. So
yeah, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I haven't been part of Clickin' Moms for very long. But when I joined, I remember distinctly feeling like, wow, I'm like walking into the presence of greatness. Like now I have all of these photographers that I've looked up to for so long, basically at my fingertips so they can help me along my journey. And I think that's the way that people feel when they join Clickin' Moms, because it is so full of so many amazing people who have done exactly what you are in the midst of doing or trying to do.
Right.
So, and they're encouraging. It's exactly what you said. You don't feel beat up for anything. They'll shoot straight with you, but you feel encouraged in the end.
Yeah. Well, and I think most of them recognize that 5 or 10 years ago they were where the beginner photographers are. So there's a real empathy there with people who are just starting out, because it's not like it was so far in their distant memory when they were a beginner.
Do you mind me mentioning the price online?
Me? No, absolutely not. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like let's go to Lifetime, which is the most expensive one, but it's Lifetime is $195, and I think if you're wanting to get into photography professionally, shooting for money, I mean that is a small amount of pay to have access to this wealth of knowledge. And one of the things, especially if you're just starting out, you really need is feedback from fellow photographers. You need somebody, you don't want to be that guy or girl goes on American Idol, and when you don't know how bad you are until you step on the stage and now everybody makes fun of you. You need to hear that before you get there, so you can get better, right?
That's true.
So I have a question for you. So once you become a Clickin' Moms Pro, there's a separate forum that you're a part of, but you also can go to the overall forum, correct?
That's correct. Yep, it's general forum membership plus smaller, more intimate side for networking and critique and advice and whatnot with just that smaller group of photographers.
Do you find that the critiques in the pro level are more hardcore or just more pointed?
The critique section of the pro side is not extremely active. I think most of the critiques stay over on the other side. A lot of times the critiques might be tied more to, I think I screwed up a session, can we talk about this? Or it's more of, that side is really more about the networking and the social, I think it is more than, the body of knowledge on the main side is where most of the substantive photographic, techniques and tips and tutorials, that's all located over on the main side. That other side is really more for the personal interaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very cool. I was wondering what it, what the difference kind of felt like.
It is what you make it, you know what I mean? So if there's a member who wants that, we have a section for it. Right. And it's sort of whatever the direction the members want to take it. But that's sort of what the members that we have presently seem to want to use it for. So.
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to become a Clickin' Mom Pro? Is that, do you have to go through a review process, or?
It is strictly a portfolio evaluation by a review panel, an evaluation panel. So you don't have to be in business, you don't have to be in business at all, but you certainly don't have to have been in for X number of years or, have a certain number of clients or whatever. It is strictly based on the merit of, it's a pretty subjective thing, merit, but there's a rubric. And there's an evaluation panel that uses that rubric to evaluate the applications.
Now, I think I saw somewhere where the Clickin' Mom Pros also do write articles, or is that something different?
They are one advantage to being a CM Pro is that there's a lot more opportunity for exposure. That is one of the first places we look if we're going to feature a photographer. On the blog, on Facebook, we have a CM Pro Daily project, which is a separate blog only for those pros, which is it has a good amount of traffic, so that's great exposure for them. They're part of a directory. And then for Click, which is our new magazine, we draw from those daily project images for feature. So that's, when we're looking for upper level imagery, that's the first place that we look, because we have this fantastic group of several hundred very, very talented photographers.
That's awesome.
Okay. And so what is CM University?
That is our educational program. It started out as one workshop, It's expanded into, I believe, about 24 workshops. We also do breakout sessions. We do our staff of mentors does mentoring sessions that's one-on-one, just like this, but just two of you. I'm doing a webcam dialogue. It could be a portfolio review, Q&A. You can watch them edit, all that sort of stuff. And then we have an e-learning component, which is sort of tied into the store, where we have ebooks, the breakout sessions that aren't live. Once they're archived, they're available for download. So it's really become a pretty expansive educational resource.
Yeah, I like that you guys are archiving things because, you know, photographer's busy schedule and mom's busy schedule, you can't always catch something right when it comes out.
Absolutely.
And then also on Clickin Mom's side, it gives them an opportunity to continue to make money on something that they've already done. It's just smart business. Yeah.
And that's another thing that our CM pros are involved in, are, you know, teaching our workshops and presenting the breakout sessions.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, is that an additional fee? Because the first fee was just for the forums.
Yes. It comes at a variety of price points, from a $25 breakout session or a $50 breakout session. And then the workshops, there is study along, which is only observing the workshop, sort of like auditing a course at a university, and that's $150. And then $300 is full participation in a workshop, and that is you pretty much have an instructor's undivided attention for 4 weeks, where they give you lessons, you can ask questions, and then you receive critique on your assignments.
Yeah, Sarah, have you had another profession in the past?
I'm an attorney.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I am, and I'm licensed and I maintain that, but because I'm a military wife and I'm licensed in Texas and currently located in Colorado, did not end up being a great, it didn't end up being a career for me at all. It didn't end up being a good choice of profession, but you can't, control who you fall in love with, and military life is not something I was anticipating, but we've made it work. My husband is an attorney as well.
Oh, wow.
So we're all sort of covered around here.
Have we? So have they decided to send the attorneys in first? Is that what he's doing?
For the deployments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
all lawyers go first.
He's when he first went, he was an artillery officer, and now he's a JAG. So he
Awesome.
worked at the prison in Bagram.
Very cool.
Well, my point with bringing up that you were a lawyer is, as a lawyer, you know that continuing education, I'm an accountant, continuing education for your profession is very important. You got to continue to learn. Things keep changing. There maybe you don't know everything or you forget things. And that's kind of how I see the CM University is, while you're learning from the forums, it also is good to do these, go to workshops or do something like that as part of your continuing education. If you're going to be a professional photographer or not, if you're doing this like Tim and I are doing it, just as it's our passion, we want to learn too. There's plenty of people who are non-pros who want to continue to learn and get better at their hobby. And I think doing something like this, where either a work session, a workshop or something like that, is a great thing, and something you should probably think about doing, every year, every so often, depending on the course.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's, and for me, I love school. Like, obviously I went to school for a long time to become a lawyer. But when I teach a couple of workshops, and I've done a seminar, and that's part of the process for me, is just like the workshops that I teach, I wrote those because I wanted to learn about those things. So it's been a really good experience for me, in a way for me to keep pushing myself, and I enjoy the academic side of things. So I don't think it'll ever end. There'll always be something to keep learning with photography.
That's how I felt about the jpeg2RAW show for me, because Mike, asked me to be one of the hosts, and then he says, and then you're the only professional photographer on the show. And I'm like, okay, great, no pressure. And so then we'll have days where we need to come up with topics, and there'll be something that I've been wondering about that I'm like, ooh, I really need to learn that, and I haven't had time. And so I'm just like, oh, I'll teach on blah, 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 blah. And he's like, And I'm like, no, I don't, but I'll figure it out, and we'll write a little, summary of it, and I'll teach it. And it's taught me so much.
It does.
You make yourself go out and learn exactly what it is, and you answer all of your questions and any questions that you might think someone else would have. And then after you've written your speech, studied it, and then said it, it's like ingrained in your brain. It's not going anywhere.
It's so true. You're so right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Kathleen, to keep you back for 2013, we're doubling your bonus.
Awesome. Thank you. We do not get paid.
That's why I can double it.
Double it up.
See, I went to school to be an accountant to know how to do that.
Yeah, good for you.
So speaking of 2013, what is next for Clickin' Moms? You guys are already huge.
Mm-hmm.
You've got we didn't go over to magazine yet, did we? I don't think we did.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the magazine. Then we'll come back to what's next for Clickin' Moms. So is the magazine a hard physical copy?
It is. It is a print magazine. It's also available in digital form, and we just launched it. So November, December was sort of our pilot issue, like a teaser issue. Our first big issue with bigger circulation comes out January, February, and I should have brought it upstairs with me, but I have had it in my hands. It is, if you've seen the first one, the second one is bigger and even more amazing, if you can imagine that. And that is our big focus in 2013 is, getting Click out there and, hearing what people have to say about it and helping it evolve to become something that's not been available previously. That was what we wanted to do. We didn't want to just do, another photography magazine. There's a lot of great photography magazines out there, but we felt like there was a void that needed to be filled. And it's not just about having a magazine for women. There's just something about it that I think will appeal to even non-photographers. Anybody who appreciates beautiful imagery, I think will really enjoy this magazine. It really sort of, it's just inspiring, and that was our goal, that you could flip through it, and even if you don't read the information, just the images themselves just make you, feel like a treat and indulgence.
Yeah, I mean, the cover is beautiful. I got to imagine, though, that is a huge commitment to launch a magazine.
Yeah, well, we have some new people on staff who are from the magazine industry who are absolutely amazing, and they have taken the reins and are just, of course, it's also what our team had envisioned, but we have people who were familiar with that industry who are really, guiding us through this process.
Do you have ads and everything in there? Do y'all have to go out and gather? Man, that's a big undertaking. That's very impressive.
It is. It's been a huge undertaking, but it's been very rewarding.
So I'm on the page now, so people watching now can see it. And you just go here and you subscribe. I can make that a little bit better. Go here and subscribe, and you can get either the hard copy or the electronic copy.
That's right, and we also have an iPad version, which is completely separate from the subscription. But if you just want to purchase for iPad viewing, that's available as well.
Oh, I gotta imagine that's gorgeous too, to watch it on a tablet.
But there's something about having it in your hands.
It is, yes.
There really is, and it's. We were like, we want the nice paper that feels good, and it is. It's very exciting and it's beautiful digitally, but there's something about getting in your hand and sitting in the bathtub with a glass of wine and your Click magazine, and it's an indulgence.
So can you imagine when you joined in? I think what'd you say, like 8 months into the Clickin' Moms?
Yep.
I got to imagine at that point the Clickin' Moms group was not the size it is today.
It was not. No, I'm gonna guess it was. They started off at 104, I think, or 108, and by the time I joined, I'm gonna guess that it was maybe around 1,000. It was still very small, and now we're upwards of 13,000.
Yeah, and on Facebook, I think you guys have over 124,000 likes.
Yeah.
So huge, and so you've gone from that to now you've seen it grow and launch an actual hard physical magazine.
Yeah.
And what your first two issues you said, November, December.
The second issue was just printed, so.
Okay, so it's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So what? That sounds like enough to keep you busy. Do y'all have future plans? How do you go? How do you go from here?
Well, this is something actually that's on our agenda for this month, is to sit down and talk about what the next 5 years are going to look like. But I will say that one thing that people keep asking about is when we're going to do an event or a conference. And I don't think we can resist too much longer. So I think you can expect to see that sometime within the next couple of years.
I got to imagine that that would be huge. You'd have a lot of people show up for that.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you know, I don't want to. I'm not committing you to anything. So anybody listening, Sarah did not tell me this, but you know, things just go into my head now. I can see everybody getting together and having breakout sessions for different type of topics and all that kind of stuff. That would be that would be awesome.
And because we're all online, you know, we've had an opportunity to meet a good number of our members at conferences, or we do a click and walk every year, which is, you know, a photo walk. So we have some opportunities to meet our members, but there's a lot of people that I personally feel like I've come to know on the board, whether it's students or just very active members, or even some members of our team that I haven't met in person. And I think we need to do that, because I think we all just need to get together in one physical location and get to.
If you do it here in Atlanta, Kathleen and I will go.
Okay.
I knew you were going to say Atlanta.
Come to Atlanta. That would be so awesome. So I haven't personally seen the Click magazine in person yet. I have it on my Christmas list as well. But I have another magazine that comes in, and I've seen a few, obviously, photographers' magazines. And one thing that I notice in each magazine is that there is almost a painful consistency in the type of images they choose to show. It's like there's one magazine that I get that every single image is dark. The exposures are dark, there's smoky images, the themes are dark, there's nothing bright and cheery ever.
Sure.
And I'm wondering, is Click planning to go along with that same idea, or is it going to be more varied, like either month by month or page by page, you see more of a variation on the type of images it shows? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you'll see it page by page. And as we grow, I think you'll see more variation, because we do pull a lot of content from within our membership and within our CM Pros. So right now, for example, we don't have a lot of travel photographers. You know, most of the photographers that we have are you know, fine art, child, family, some wedding. You certainly will see a lot of child photography in there, because I still think that's sort of the bread and butter of our membership.
Right.
But when we pick out our features, we do make a point of trying to choose. Usually there's 3 to 5 features, and we make a point of trying to choose people who feel very different from one another. And if you take a look at the daily project, which is where we're pulling a fair amount of our imagery, that doesn't feel one note. And that's important to us in the magazine. Because I think, you know, even people who know what direction they want to go and can find inspiration from looking at other types of photographies and other types of photography and other styles and whatnot.
I mean, even with child photography, you have big, bold, bright pops of color, or you have light and airy, or you have classic children's portraiture with all whites and creams, or you have the haunted things where the child is just like staring into the camera and everything's dusky and dark. And there's so many different types, and I love that that's your guys' plan, to kind of mix it up and not make it all the same. Because a lot of magazines I get, before I even open the cover, I can be like, it's going to be dark and dreary. And I open it up, and sure enough, every single award goes to a dark and dreary, every single image is dark and dreary, and I'm just like,
I do like the dark and dreary, but I think
I love
that's
it too.
some balance.
I like to mix it up a little bit and be inspired by something different every once in a while. So that's really good.
I agree with you, and it is also important to us to have some imagery in there that is unlikely to be picked up by other publications. So I think it's a new avenue for people who don't fit into a certain mold to get some exposure.
I agree. That's awesome. Very cool.
There's a lot of voting going on out in chat on where the Clickin' Moms conference is going to be held.
Sorry, I've got a whiny dog.
Oh, that's fine.
We can't hear him. We can't hear him. He's fine.
Yeah, I never heard him. We out in chat, there's a lot of voting going on where the Clickin' Moms conference is going to be. So I think everybody's excited about having one. It may not be complete agreement on where.
I like that one where it says New York City. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys.
Texas, Atlanta, and I see the beach. Where the beach is, I'm going to go ahead and say Hawaii. Let's do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I think wherever it is, I think it'll just to having everybody together is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And we can keep talking, going on, but if you had any questions out chat and we missed your questions, now we're getting close, maybe another 15 minutes before we hit the hour. So if you had any questions for Sarah that we didn't ask, be sure to ask them out there in chat, and we'll try and get them in. If I miss it, you may have to ask again because chat moves pretty fast. While we're waiting for that,
They're still talking about location.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. I think everybody's stuck. Kathleen throws out Hawaii, and there you go.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's putting their bathing suits in their bags right now. I'm just waiting for you guys to post that it's in Hawaii. Let's go.
I think you just talked me out of Hawaii.
Do it right, exactly. Never mind.
You're one of those troublemakers, aren't you, Kathleen?
Yeah.
We're waiting for a question here. My kid, this is getting a little bit off subject, whenever he first got into soccer, so he was maybe 5 years old, he was very disruptive. And one of the things you notice when kids are playing soccer is the girls at that age can just absolutely kill the boys because they're organized, they're listening, they know what they're doing. The boys are just chaos. So my son is sitting there, and the coach is trying to control them. And as they're running to try and do a goal, my son says, "Coach, coach, coach." And he says, "Yes, Andrew, what do you want?" And he goes, in Spider-Man when he goes, "Go Web." And, of course, now all the boys are just going, "Go Web." Well, that's Kathleen in the middle of the show throwing out Hawaii.
Exactly. Chasing chickens all over Hawaii.
Kathleen, where are you located right now?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, but I actually grew up in Hawaii, so I'm looking for any reason to go back. Yeah, but I live like 5 minutes from Mike Howard, and we've never met in person before.
Never met. Been doing a show for over a year. Never met.
I think you guys need to do coffee this weekend.
I guess so.
Okay, so some of the questions are rolling in. I'm going to lose them before we go.
Okay.
So what inspired Click? I'm losing it as it goes.
Oh.
What made y'all decide to do? What made y'all decide to do a magazine?
We had started an online magazine called Click in January of 2011. That was really fantastic and was very well received by our members, but we did not have the staff to support it. We had some of our, I'm trying to think if we even had Senior Pro then. I think it was just starting. And we had our team to contribute articles and whatnot, but really it was a one-woman show. A member of our team, Lynn, who is one of our probably our most well-known workshop instructor, was almost singularly responsible for putting Click together. And it was just a really big undertaking for one person. We did have advertisers and coordinating all the articles, and she was doing all the layout, and she was a one-woman show, and it was just a lot. So we backed off of that. And this year, we got in touch with some people who were in the industry who, we had just sort of chit-chatted with informally, who thought, you need to do this. Like, this is the right time for you. And we just, Kendra and I had a lot of back and forth, and it was a huge undertaking. We weren't sure if we were ready, but it just seemed like we had sort of a few women who were ready to get the team rolling with it and get the publication going, and everything just sort of came together, and it seemed like it came together for a reason, and we just had to jump on it. It really has become something that we never could have anticipated that it would become. But we're really proud of where it is so far. And like I said, the second issue, it will just blow you away. The first one knocked my socks off. The second one, it's amazing.
All right, I'm going to have to get it. And again, if I missed your question, you might have to ask it again. But one I did remember seeing is, so Sarah, you have 3 boys now, right?
I do, and a girl on the way.
Yeah, that was going to be the question, yes. A girl on the way. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah. I'm not sure I know what to do with the girl. I grew up with, it was just me and my sister, and I always thought I would have 2 daughters, just like my mom did. And when I had my first boy, the second time I thought, this one's going to be a girl. Nope, another boy. Third one, I wanted it to be a girl, but I wasn't sure. I had another boy, and then this time, I knew what to do with a boy. If number 4 had been a boy, it would have been good. With a girl, I think this one's going to, throw us for a loop a little bit, but I'm excited.
Oh, I think that'd be great to have a little girl, and having 4 big brothers is going to be awesome too.
Yeah.
Three
yeah.
big brothers. Yeah.
3 big
They
brothers.
asked if you felt like it was going to change your shooting style any having a little girl versus having a boy.
I think so. I'm so excited. It's kind of sad. Like, you can't think of a baby. It's like, you're having a baby. You're not having a new subject. But I am really excited about it, and I do think it's going to change my photography. I have so many friends who have little girls, and it's been very hard for me not to be jealous of them shooting, the frills and the curls and there's something about shooting little girls. I'm excited to have that opportunity.
We keep having one question. Sorry, Mike.
Yep.
When are you guys going to start offering Shooting 301 Story and Vision?
Well, that outline is sort of there. My 3 workshops are based on a 13-week workshop that I taught. That was the very first Clickin' Moms workshop. So that is part 3. But it is not currently under active development. We have a lot of other projects going on. So I would say 2014 would be the earliest you would see that course.
And because you guys are so popular and have so many fans, do a lot of your classes sell out really fast?
My last class sold out in 72 seconds.
Wow.
We oversold. So we had 42 students in that class, and there was only space for 30. So they don't all go that quickly. I don't teach my classes quite as frequently as some of the other instructors do, which, tends to make them a little bit more in demand since they're not as available. But yes, a lot of the classes do sell out before they ever reach regular registration.
And I'm not as familiar with your classes. Are like 100 level, 200 level, 300 level? Is that how that works?
Yeah,
And
presently, yeah.
how fast are like the 300 levels selling out? Are they selling out in that fast too?
Yeah, we have, let's see, I think we have 3 300 level courses right now, and 2 of them are mine.
Okay.
And those do tend to be the fastest selling courses for 2 reasons. One is they don't run as frequently. The other is we have a lot of students who have worked their way through the program and are really, sort of believers in the education that we offer. So it's excuse me, it's very common for those courses to be filled with alumni, and they know they want that seat. They know when it's going to open. They're waiting in line to get it. We're really fortunate to have them.
So talk to us a little bit about low light shooting and shooting from shadows. Someone said they took that class and they just loved it.
So shooting from the shadows was part of a breakout session. We did a sort of 5 mini breakouts as one. We called it All Access Pass, and it's been turned into an ebook. So Shooting from the Shadows is an ebook that's available in the store. We don't have any classes that formally spend a great deal of time. Sorry, my dog is so
What kind
whiny.
of dog do you have?
This Shih Tzu.
She just wants you to, she or he? He just wants you to pick him up. And they're asking me out, and I don't feel it's appropriate for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask anyway. They want to see the baby bump.
Oh yeah.
Your bag.
I'll leave that for you to decide whether you want to show or not.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Look at that. Awesome.
That's awesome. That's so cute. So the ebook is available from Shooting from Shadows. That sounds really interesting.
It is. I do a lot of low light shooting, and it's something a lot of people aren't very comfortable with, that I personally find very rewarding. And I think part of it is because of the drama that we had talked about earlier, where I love like sort of the moody and the collision between light and shadow, but also because I do have 3 small children, it's kind of hard for me to get out of the house. So I am doing a lot of interior shooting, as well as if I want to shoot for myself, a lot of that is done after dark when my boys are in bed. So light shooting kind of came out of necessity. But
so you can get an ebook format, and do you know how much it is for that?
I believe it's $25.
Oh, that's such a deal.
It is a deal. I think it is.
Awesome. That's such a deal.
And here's just a comment. Cutest pregnant girl ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was that my sister again?
By Kelly L. Anderson.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Okay, so have you had any new artistic shifts in your work, do you think, this year? And if you had to have anything on your photography bucket list, what would it be? There's a question
you know,
for you.
I have not been shooting that much this year. My husband was gone from September to September. And I found that it was really difficult, both finding the time and emotionally. I find photography to be pretty emotionally draining. Partly because I shoot for myself. Not that you can't shoot for other people and find it emotionally draining, but I'm trying to tell a story or to put a message out there, or sometimes it's even therapeutic. And I just had a hard time when he was gone doing a lot of shooting. So I'm just getting back into picking my camera up again. And I had mentioned earlier in the show, my personal challenge right now is to do more color work, because I have gravitated so much towards black and white over the last 2 years. And I want to find a way to incorporate color more effectively into my work. I'd also like to be doing some off-camera flash work. I've got all the equipment and I'm ready to go with it. It's not something I've played with a lot. But right now, color is the big focus.
I think that you'll have plenty of opportunities with color with this little girl.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's pink, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're asking us in chat to talk about your skin ebook and your flawless ebook. What are those about?
They are about skin. I mean, it's the same book. It's called Flawless, and it's called Flawless: The Secrets of Skin. And it's divided into 3 sections. One is shooting for great skin, processing to get your color right for great skin, and then retouching for great skin. And when I say great skin, I definitely actually don't mean skin that looks airbrushed, but it might be skin that looks, perfectly made up. But it depends on what your vision is. So if you're shooting an 80-year-old woman and your goal is to show like the laugh lines and, the wrinkles and the experience and the way the sun has affected this texture of the skin, it's all about getting the skin to be what your vision looks like. So for the most part, it's focusing on pristine color with correct white balance. And that's something that we have seen, in our pro applications and on the board that a lot of photographers really, really, really struggle with. And there's really only been 2 texts that I can think of that have done a really good job of teaching skin, and that's where I learned, and that's Stan Margulis's. He's got 2 books. One is called The Canyon Conundrum, and the other one is called Professional Photoshop. I think it's just called Professional Photoshop. And then the other author is Lee Veris, and he has a great book on skin. But I wanted to take it a little bit further. To date, no one that I've seen has spent time talking about how you achieve good skin in Lightroom. Dan Margulis does not talk about, shooting for great skin. I don't think he talks about retouching for great skin. So it sort of brought it all into one comprehensive text. And the people that I know that have bought it have found it to be really beneficial, and I don't think there's anything else out there like that.
And where can they find the book? Is that available on your site or on Clickin Moms?
No, it's in the Clickin Mom store.
Okay.
Yeah.
My Christmas list is getting longer and longer.
I know, because that's one of the problems with...
Keep me out of the mall. He's going to want to keep me off of...
off of this show, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what tip, just real quickly, what is your key thing for getting proper white balance?
Well, for me personally, it's working in Kelvin and just in general, having an awareness of your light, which is important for any photograph you're taking. But when you're working with people, understanding what color temperature is all about, understanding how the directionality of light affects the quality of the skin. That's the first place to focus on. It is in camera. After you pull it into Photoshop or Lightroom, you have a certain foundation to work with.
Right.
So there's a lot you can do with a photo that doesn't look great out of camera, but the more you've nailed it in camera, the better your results are going to be at the end.
I got to imagine you shoot RAW.
I do, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You use a gray card or anything like that?
I don't. I shoot strictly by Kelvin.
Okay. When I was looking through your photos, I kind of know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask anyway, because I was looking through your photos and I was extremely jealous. But what camera do you mainly shoot with?
I have, most of the photos in the portfolio are probably a D3S, and I have a D4 now that's sort of given me some fits, but they're both great cameras.
Well, I had been shooting with a D2X forever and just moved up to a used D700
It's a great camera.
It's my first full frame camera, and I'm absolutely loving the D700.
I had the 700 before the 3S. It's a fantastic camera. You gain about one more stop with that D3S.
Yeah, right.
I do the low light shooting that matters for me.
Right.
Yeah.
The question is, your D4 issues to do with ISO capabilities?
No, it's to do focus.
With focus?
Really?
No way.
Focus.
And color. I don't love the color I get out of it, and I've done a custom calibration on it, and just having some issues. And I've never had focus issues before, so
It's a pain, isn't it?
it is, and I keep thinking it's me, and I'll keep working with it. But you know, I've been shooting for a few years now, and with this being the first one to give me focus problems, I have to think that it may be the camera.
You know, a lot of times you hear people say it's the photographer, not the camera, and that generally is the truth. I mean, it is the photographer because it's still up to your eye. But when I was, my oldest son is on the high school swim team, and the gyms that I'm shooting in are just awful.
Yeah.
And my D2X, really anything above ISO 800 is just really, you know, crazy amounts of noise. So it was very limiting. The D700 though, I set it on auto ISO, and sometimes it goes up to, you know, 12,800 ISO, and that is a little bit noisy. But believe it or not, 12,800 ISO on the D700 is maybe around 1,200 ISO on the D2X. It's very usable image on it out of the D700. So sometimes it can be the camera.
Yeah, well, I think it's just like anything where you've got a skilled artisan, and the better their tools are, you know, the more whether it's like a woodworker or a baker or whatever, everybody wants the best tools of the trade. But if you don't know what to do with them, you know, that's certainly a limiting factor as well.
Absolutely.
I think also as you grow as a photographer and you upgrade, the more you also come to expect from your equipment.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember I had, you know, the Canon 5D Mark II for a long time, and the focusing system on that was working exactly the way it was supposed to, but in my opinion, it just wasn't great for my type of photography.
Yeah.
And so that just drove me crazy. And when I got the 5D Mark III, I was just like, this is the way it should be. You know?
That's a great thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're totally different. This is the way it should be. This is exactly what I was looking for. So,
yeah. And the more skilled you are, the more you become aware of those technical limitations.
I would not have known of the technical holdbacks of the 5D Mark II 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have known. I had to get it and work with it and then feel its limitations for me to say, okay, I'm ready to step up.
That's how you know when you're ready.
That's when you know you're ready. Exactly. And people ask me, oh, should I get blah, blah, blah camera? And I'm just like, if you don't even know why you're paying the price difference, then no, you shouldn't.
Right.
So.
Well, we're coming up on the hour now, so maybe we can get one more question in, and then we'll do a wrap up. And whenever we do go to end, don't head out right away, because we'll have a couple of minutes in the post show too. And I see your dog has come into the picture.
My dog and my child with his cast on.
Oh. Look at that hat. Love the hat.
Oh, look at
I know, poor baby.
Tell him we love the cast.
Yes, it's very nice.
Thank you.
Part of growing up and being a boy.
Yeah.
He'll look back on that and say, "Look at that."
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, Sarah. Is, you know, this is something with anybody getting into photography, is the work-life balance.
Yeah.
You're either doing photography as a second job, you got your main day job and you're doing that, or you've got, you know, you're giving up something. Anytime you spend in photography, you're giving up family time or work time or something. You know, you only have so much time. So how do you find that work-life balance?
I think that's something I'm still working on. My mom is watching, so I shouldn't say that sleep is what I have sacrificed, but that is certainly something that I have given up is sleep greatly. But I do, for me, I work at home. For Clickin moms, we all telecommute, so that has made, you know, I'm so sorry.
He just wants attention.
So that's made a big difference for me, and that allows me to be more flexible. And, you know, people who do work a traditional job outside the home, they're spending time in the morning, you know, getting ready for work and driving into work and all of that. I feel like that frees up a little bit more time for me, but I'm also fortunate in that photography is part of my job. So even though that's a lot of the personal side, when I'm shooting for myself, it's usually something I can use for work as well, which is a situation I think most people are not fortunate to be in. It also means that when I'm shooting, since I'm shooting for myself, I'm shooting my children, which means that I'm spending time with them at the same time. So that's part of the balance as well. Yeah, I think something's got to give for everybody. And it is sleep for me, and it's also just the fact that my work and my personal life are so tightly integrated in that I work with my friends, I'm shooting my children, you know, there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah, and they said out in chat, she doesn't sleep yet, she still makes sense.
Thanks, Lindsay.
So as we get ready to head out, you know, everybody know about Clickin Moms, and that's easy to find on Facebook, on the actual website, and we'll have the links in our show notes. But you know, you have your own personal website too that people can go to, sarahwilkerson.com, and I got it up there, and I'll have that in the show notes too. Any other ways for people to follow you? Maybe Twitter or anything like that?
I am Sarah E. Wilkerson on Twitter. I am Sarah Wilkerson Photography on Facebook. I am Sarah Wilkerson on Instagram. Pinterest, I think I'm Sarah Wilkerson. I throw the E in there when some other Sarah Wilkerson has grabbed it. But yeah, any standard social media, you can find me there.
Very good. And as Kathleen mentioned before, she is our one of the hosts. She's our one pro here. Kathleen, how can people follow you? I know you're a huge Twitter user and tweeting all the time.
No, I'm not on Twitter at all, but just on Facebook, just Kathleen Boyd Photography, and then my website, kathleenboydphotography.com.
Okay. And we know where they can find Tim and I, generally in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
And Kathleen,
you more so than me.
Kathleen, you missed I did a little intro to what our new website's going to look like in 2013. You missed that.
No way, I missed that. I've missed out on a lot.
You missed that.
I've been out of the loop, and I apologize, but
So I'll show you the old one, so you know the old one. And as we're looking at that, and as we're ending the show here, I want to mention that we have 2 more days today, Thursday and Friday, to sign up for the Expo Disc giveaway. And I'm really close to getting them to actually come on the show. Kathleen, Tim.
That's really awesome.
Having them come on the show. But 2 more days to get this. We want to get the contest over and get that mailed out so you can get it by Christmas. If you go to our page, if you're watching the show live, you're already there. But if not, you go to, jpeg2RAW, and then, where's my mouse? You just click on the giveaway button, and there's the giveaway where you can sign up and do that. It's really easy to sign up for it. At the minimum, all you got to do is like our Facebook page. The thing that makes these things possible is, we mentioned we're a nonprofit. These podcasts are absolutely free. We do the giveaways as a way to give back to photographers, because as we talked about, you want to spend your money on things like the Clickin Moms forums, the Clickin Moms, the workshops and all the courses that you can take, and lenses and cameras and everything else. So it's a small way to give back, and we do that by having affiliation with Amazon and Adorama, and now I don't see it here, but Newegg also. So if you're going to buy there already, just click there, and we use 100% of those to give back by doing these. We also have coming up next week the guys from Topaz Labs. We've been working with these guys. We're probably like 17 emails in, and today they sent me an email and said, "Hey, how about next week?"
Wow.
So you got to roll with the punches. So next week, I think that they're going to be coming on, and we'll be doing a giveaway live on the show of something. I don't know what it is yet. They'll be telling me. But live on the show next week, we'll be doing a giveaway of something of theirs, and then they're going to give us something else to give away down the road, more of a normal type giveaway. And Kathleen, are you still doing?
Yeah, we'll still do the giveaway, probably in January, I would think.
Yep. So what that is in January, you're going to give away an hour mentoring session we'll set all that up, and I don't know when we'll actually do that, because it's already getting middle December, but sometime probably in January, we'll set that up and do the giveaway, and then you'll have a live mentoring session with Kathleen if you win
Love
that.
it. So fun. So
Where's I have a list of things. Oh, if the show, if you want to listen to this again, if you missed something that Sarah said, the show will be available in a few days on Stitcher Radio, on YouTube, iTunes, on our website, and then on any kind of other podcast catcher you can get. I use Beyond Pod. I know that you use something else, Tim.
Downcast.
Downcast on your phone. I'm an Android, your iPhone, so.
No, actually, it's my iPod Touch. I'm an Android phone user too.
Oh, okay. And what else? I think
you covered it.
that's it. Yep.
Sarah, it was such an honor to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to go check out your work, so I'm going to do that. No, it's been great talking with you guys.
We just love having you on, and when we heard that you were interested in coming on, it was a happy day here at the jpeg2RAW show, and so it's been a great show, and I know that a lot of people are just inspired by you and really appreciate you giving us your time and some insight into your life. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun, and I will say y'all calmed my nerves very, very quickly.
Oh,
so
very good. When I emailed Kathleen to say, you will not believe who I have coming on. I have Sarah coming on her show. It's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we have Sarah.
You might have heard me squeal from like 10 miles away.
Yeah. Excuse me, Kathleen. I'm showing a little pre-show of the website there.
Oh, I see it. Very cool. I like it.
Yep. So, again, if you didn't get to stay for the whole show, or if you want to listen to it again, it'll be available in a few days. Make sure you sign up for this before time runs out. And if you're not interested in Expo Disc, Expo Disc is a way to set white balance. If you're not interested in that, I'm sure we'll have another one coming up really soon. And just watch our Facebook page where JPEG, Facebook. Just search for jpeg2RAW on Facebook. We have a page and a group out there. And I think that's it. We'll see you again next week. And after next week, we're going to have another 2-week break because the show lands on Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
Oh.
So we're going to have another 2-week break. We'll see you again next week. Everybody who out there, come next week and maybe win something from Topaz Labs. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.